Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Why Not RV. On this week we're going to talk about RV newbie mistakes and how to avoid them. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing. So this past year has been a boom for the RV industry. We've had so many RV newbies coming on board. If you go on Facebook on all the different RV newbie groups, there's just so many new people starting to RV for the first time. And I partially put it on the COVID-19. Maybe there's some other stuff that's at play with it, but to me, I think that's the biggest reason people are wanting to start to travel in an RV. So I wanted to try and put a video out that will help you guys make a lot less mistakes and maybe not look like a newbie at your very first campground and stuff like that. First thing I want to talk about is towing, and that applies for if you have a travel trailer and you're just looking for anti-sway bars, or maybe how to hook up a weight distribution hitch, or if you have a Class A or a Class C and you're pulling a vehicle behind you, or if you're like me and you have a fifth wheel and you are hitching up to a fifth wheel hitch. Each individual travel trailer or RV all has very specific needs for their hitching. So make sure you look up your specific need and watch plenty of videos on it. Watch other people's opinions. There's a ton of videos out there for every single style of hitching up. So look up a video on how to hitch up your RV. After you're hitched up and you're going down the road, one of the first things I always see newbies making mistakes, and some of the experienced people making this mistake, is going too fast. These RVs are not meant to go 70, 80 miles an hour down the highway. The tires alone are usually only rated for 55, 60, 65 miles an hour. You know, unless you upgraded your tires yourself, they're probably not rated for anything over that. When I'm going down the road and I see people going 70, 80 miles an hour passing me on the interstate, I just don't understand why. You're going nowhere fast. So just slow down, take a look around, and enjoy the scenery. Another thing I see extremely common down the road is just new RVers not being mindful of this massive RV they're now pulling or driving. Mind your mirrors, people. Watch what's going on around you constantly. You should always be looking at the lanes next to you, what's going on at the exit in front of you, what's going on 4, 5, 6 cars ahead of you, and make sure you have plenty of time for braking and you're letting people merge in front of you. And also be courteous to truckers, right? Truckers and RVers kind of have a little understanding on the road. They don't like each other, but they also are kind of the same when we're going down the road. So make sure that you are being courteous to truckers. If you're passing them, make sure you give them plenty of space when you get in front of them to not just cut them off. If one of them is passing you and they get right past in front of you, flash your headlights real quick. It lets them know that you are then, or that they are then clear of you and they can get back over. So flash your headlights at them, let them come back over. You'll be surprised how many might say thank you by giving you the hazards real quick and say, hey, I appreciate it. Okay, one of the last things about towing and driving your RV when you're a newbie, and this is probably the most common mistake that people make, is locking up all the doors on the RV. You would not believe how many times we're going down the highway and all of a sudden you see an RV pass you and one of the doors is flapping. Okay, make sure you close up and lock the door. Strap everything down properly. You know, if you got a generator or something on the back, make sure it's strapped correctly. Make sure all your doors are locked and they're actually latch closed. Give them a little tug before you get going down the road. You'll be surprised how many times that'll save you. Next is going to be parking, right? So now you've taken your RV down the road, you're getting to your campsite. The campground tells you where you're going to park at and you're going to go to your site. Know your distance to your utilities, okay? Make sure if you only have a 25-foot electric cord or you only have a 10-foot hose, whatever the case is, make sure that you are close enough to that utility to be able to plug in. Because so many times I see someone park, they detach, they move away, and all of a sudden they got to re-hitch up because they're 2 feet too short of a spigot or an outlet. So make sure you know where your utilities are at and what kind of extension cords or hoses you have. The other thing when you're parking is know your slide clearances. A lot of RV parks have the pedestals and stuff in between, like you can see this one right here. If you come in, you park right here and your slide opens up, boom, and you hit it, that's not very good. So make sure you know your slide clearances. Like I know that on my driver's side of my RV, I have a 2-foot slide clearance. On the other side is 3 foot. So I know that if I'm 2 feet away from that utility pole or from whatever it is, I know that the slide can open up and not hit it. But again, you'd be surprised how many times I've seen people open their slide right up and then press right into that pole. We were just traveling and we were in Nebraska about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I saw someone doing this with a brand new, beautiful fifth wheel. It was a Jayco, very nice RV. And as I pulled in, I said to Erica, they're gonna hit that pole. I need to go say something to them. And so I watched them kind of start setting up, and then once they were about to move the slides, I went over and I gave him a knock on the RV real quick and let him know what was about to happen. And sure enough, it was. He tested it. He's like, "Oh no, it'll be fine." He opens it up, and sure enough, it was gonna hit it. I gave him a knock, and he stopped and pulled it back in. He had to re-hitch up, back out of the campsite, and pull back forward just to move over 6 inches. So make sure you know your clearance. Now you've got yourself parked, you're in the right spot, you got enough clearance, your hoses are gonna reach, your electric cord's gonna reach. First thing you need to do is chalk your wheels. Some way, somehow, there's 1,000 different ways to do it, but make sure that that RV is not gonna just roll away on you when you go to disconnect from the truck. Once you're chalked, disconnect. Look up your disconnect procedures for your RV. Every RV is a little bit different, whether it's a travel trailer or fifth wheel, or again, a Class A that has a toad behind it. Look up how to properly disconnect those hitches. You're disconnected, you've moved your vehicle away, you're ready to get camp set up. Do not plug in to an electrical outlet unless the breaker is off. So many times I see people just plug straight in and the power's already going through it, and it gets a little jump, little zzz when you plug it in. And over time, that really puts some bad pits on those posts off your plug, and it can cause some damage to your appliances inside. So make sure that breaker's off first before you plug in. Another thing I see RV newbies make mistakes on all the time is just not having electrical protection. I guess at the end of the day, this comes down to preference and opinion, but to me, it's a common newbie mistake to not have either an EMS or even just a basic surge protector to protect your rig, because every campground is just a little bit different, and you get some that have great electrical services and no issues at all, and others that it's real shaky, and you just got to make sure you have either an EMS, electrical management system, or at the very least a surge protector to protect your RV from a surge. Now you got your electric hooked up, let's talk about water. Those white potable water hoses that people sell you at the RV stores, to me, those things suck. They are just, they're big and they're really rigid, and they take up a lot of space, and they're really not long enough, so then you got to get a bigger one. They have more that you're fussing with. So in one of my other videos, I think it was one of my boondocking videos, I upgraded to this little hose. Where am I at? Here we go. This hose right here, it's really flexible. It expands to, I think this one is a 50-foot hose, but when it's shrunk up, it's into this tiny little ball of like nothing. So get yourself something like this, or any kind of different flexible drinking water hose. We bought this on Amazon and it worked great for us. Still talking about water, a lot of times you see the water filter, whether it's that little blue, kind of foot-long kind of water filter hanging off the side of an RV. Well, what that does, it puts a lot of pressure on the side of the RV. So what you want to do, let me turn you around here, is see how my hose right here just comes straight in, okay? There's no attachment to this. The water pressure regulator and the water filter are at the spigot, right at the base of the hose, so that no weight is getting pulled on this thing, because so many times you see people, have this, and then they have this big, huge thing on here that is causing so much weight to be pulled down on this little fitting, and those fittings go bad over time when that happens. So make sure you have that stuff at the beginning of the hose, not at the RV. Here's the next fun topic of discussion. Your sewer connection, right? This little valve right here, a little Valterra blade valve at the base right here, will save you so much headache. If you don't have one of these and you're going down the road and all of a sudden you realize that one of your valves inside one of the tanks just wasn't perfectly sealed, you go to open up this cap and all this nasty water comes out, and you hope to God it's just gray water, right? But to prevent that, you put one of these valves on here. I'll put a link below on one of these little Valterra valves. They're pretty cheap. I think they're only like 25 or 30 bucks on Amazon. I don't really know. I even carry a spare one just in case this one ever goes bad, and it just prevents so much nastiness that you otherwise would probably run into eventually. Still on that same subject of your sewer connection, a lot of times I see people post online, do I leave the gray tanks open all the time? Do I leave the black tank open all the time? How do I dump my tanks? Do I leave them all closed and dump them when they're full? Everyone has a little different opinion, but the number one thing that is going to be a newbie mistake that you're going to try and avoid is you do not open up that black tank valve until the black tank is full and ready to be dumped completely. There's no reason for it to be open, because all it's going to happen is stuff's going to go inside of it and the liquid's going to keep going and the solid isn't. So you're going to have a real nasty mess on your hands if you leave that black tank open. So always keep it closed until you're ready to dump. All right, so now you've been set up, you've enjoyed your camp, you've enjoyed your weekend, whatever it is, it's time to go home. You got to break down camp. Now, the best part about an RV and not being in a hotel for the weekend is whatever you brought with you, it's all either right there inside your RV or it's on the ground around you, right? It's not like you took anything out and you put it in drawers and then you empty the drawers. You brought anything anywhere else other than your own campsite. So, what you unpack, you repack. It's real simple. Every RV is different. Everyone has a little different thing, a little different setup of how they put their, Keurig on the counter or whatever. If you unpacked it, just repack it. It's real simple, real easy, and you won't really make any mistakes as long as you keep that philosophy in your head. A real big complaint that a lot of people have on RV newbies is that they just aren't as courteous as some of the RVers that have been doing this for a long time. Now, I'm by no means a well-experienced RVer. I'm pretty new to the RV world. However, I clean up my site. I make it look better than how I got there, right? You do not want to leave your campsite worse than it was. And to me, I don't even want to leave it the same as it was. If there's any extra trash, I don't care if it's my trash or not, I'm picking it up. I'm going to help out that next RVer. I'm going to help out that state park ranger, whatever it is, because you see all the time, Labor Day weekend, people out camping, and then the campsites are trash. They're disgusting. Go around your campsite and clean up. Now your campsite's cleaned up, make sure before you pull in your slides, get up on your roof. If you have a travel trailer and you can just see the top of them, or you get on a ladder to see them, whatever it is, or you have a fifth wheel or a Class A and you got to climb up on the roof, get up on the roof. Make sure that all your stuff is down, right? Your antennas are down, anything you have is down and flat so you're ready for transport. And also you can sweep off the top of your slides, because otherwise when you pull the slides in, everything that's on top now comes inside. And then that, whatever it is, whether it's, tree debris, little pine needles and stuff, that all comes inside the RV. You bring in bugs and spiders, and if you just sweep it off, take an extra 3 minutes while you're breaking down camp, it'll really save a lot of headache on the inside. You're now ready to latch and lock everything up, kind of like we talked about before you start towing, right? This is that last process right before you're gonna be towing again. Latch up everything, lock everything up, make sure everything is strapped down correctly before you get your hitch going, so that you don't mess this up later and just hitch up and take off with the door flapping in the wind. Once you're done with that, now you're hitching back up again, right? And again, your RV is different than my RV. My truck and my RV's combo is different than someone else's truck and RV combo, because all the hitches are different. Everyone has a different thing. So look up your specific hitching needs to get hitched back up so you can make it home safe. One final walk around. You're hitched up, your truck's running, everyone's in the vehicle, you're ready to go, whatever it is, Class A, and engine's running, slides are in, okay. Get out, do one last walk around. Make sure that all the things are latched up, everything's strapped down, everything's turned down, everything is ready to go down the road. If you do that one final walk around just one more time, it might save you from having one more door that's just not latched properly flying open on you down the interstate. That's it for this week's video. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.